Alright, good morning. We're going to learn how to do some data-driven documents with the D3js .js library. Here's some examples of what we can do. Population pyramid, force-directed graphs. Here's one of geographic GeoJSON data that creates a map of the United States. There's a force-directed graph. Radial trees, factorization diagrams, all sorts of other things. Histogram, scatterplot, or a scatterplot matrix, chord dependency diagram. Here's a bubble. What is this? A bubble chart, collision detection. Just some many examples of what we're going to do. Alright, D3.js is a JavaScript library for manipulating documents based on data. D3 helps you bring data to life using HTML, CVG, and CSS. That's scalable vector graphics in the new browser specification. D3's emphasis on web standards gives you full capabilities of modern browsers without tying you to a proprietary framework. Powerful visualizations and a data-driven approach to DOM manipulation. Okay, document object model. We used to use jQuery to do that. Now we have D3 selectors instead. And we're going to learn how to do some selections with D3 instead of with jQuery or instead of with the traditional ways we've done it. It's much less verbose, much quicker. Introduction. D3 here's the developer tools, by the way. We're going to go through this tutorial and actually do all of the examples in it. And we're going to see how D3 works in practice. To open your developer tools in Chromium, type Control-Shift-I. Or Control-Shift-J opens the console directly. I already had it to my console. You can move around between developer tools if you haven't used it before. Explore it a little bit. But we're going to go to the console tab. Alright, D3 allows you to bind arbitrary data to a document object model and then apply data-driven transformations to the document. For example, you can use D3 to generate an HTML table from an array of numbers, or use the same data to create an interactive SVG bar chart with smooth transitions and interactions. D3 is not a monolithic framework that seeks to provide every conceivable feature. Instead, D3 solves the crux of the problem, efficient manipulation of documents based on data. This avoids proprietary representation, avoids flexibility, exposing the full capabilities of web standards such as HTML, CVG, and CSS. With minimal overhead, D3 is extremely fast, supporting large data sets, dynamic behaviors for interaction and animation. And we have lots of code reuse. Alright, selections. Let's get straight to it. This is how we used to do it. Very tedious. Method names are verbose. The imperative approach requires manual iteration. That's that. And bookkeeping of temporary state. So D3 employs a declarative approach. All you need now is that. So we're going to try it out, and we're going to see what it's going to do. We're just going to change every paragraph, every piece of paragraph text to the color blue. D3.select all P. Just typing that alone, that's going to return an array of DOM nodes. Style, color, blue. Let's see what happens. Alright, look, all of the text became blue. We could have done that in jQuery pretty easily. But I like this better for various reasons. We're using the selectors API that was introduced in 2013. It's now been superseded, but you can take a look at this, understand the selectors API if you wish. It's still a recommendation, and all the browsers implement it. D3 provides numerous methods. Selectors are defined, supported natively by modern browsers. The above examples select nodes by tag name, paragraph, and body. Here's another one. Now we're going to change the body text. D3 select. Before we selected all paragraphs. Now we're just going to select one. So we selected multiple nodes. Here we're going to select one node. Select body. Change the style. This changes the CSS property of the body element, and the property changes the background color property to black. See? Great. It's a little hard to read, so let's change the select all paragraph style color white. That's a little easier to read. Then blue, and now we just made a negative. We just turned our document into sort of a negative theme. Although it's hard to read the code, so and the headers. So I'm just going to revert because this is an example. It's not how I actually want to do it. Changing the paragraphs back to black, and now we're back to where we were. Alright, selectors are defined by the selectors API. Like I said, we just changed the paragraph and body nodes by their tag names. They can also be selected by a variety of predicates. Attribute value, containment, attribute values, class, ID. Provides numerous methods for mutating nodes, setting attributes or styles, registering event listeners, adding and removing sorting nodes, and changing HTML and text content. These suffice for the vast majority of needs. Direct access to the underlying document object model is also possible, as each D3 selection is an array of nodes. So what returns, each of these selectors returns an array, right? I could call this PP for paragraphs. And now I have, see, it's a length. How do you find the length of an array in JavaScript? I don't use JavaScript that much anymore. That's how I would do it in Python. Alright. Anyway, it's an array of nodes. Anyway, we're going to do the rest of this tutorial in the next videos. Stay tuned, and welcome to D3